Our energy is cyclical. The pursuit of balance really is understanding your energy.
And when I was learning my body again after getting off of 16 years of birth control, I felt like there was always something wrong. And at the same time, I was also dealing with the trauma of getting a cancer diagnosis. As I started to regulate my hormones, though, there was this one time a month that I hadn't tracked yet, where I was like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm cranky for no reason. What's going on? And it wasn't during my period, which I think most people would blame, like, oh, you're on your period, whatever.
Right.
It's the luteal phase. So we came up with this phrase, luteal is brutal.
Luteal.
Luteal is brutal. But it doesn't mean that I'm a psycho Jeffrey luteal. Now it means I know when it's coming. I now understand my energy cycle. Is balance a myth?
The classic question. I think that it's a myth more to do with whatever phase you're in. You know, at the beginning of each project, there's always a ton to do. So I think imbalance at the beginning is actually kind of necessary. And maybe it's a false belief that I have, but you tilt the scales too far one way. I don't think it's a myth. I think that it's more to do with how fast you want to move. Like for most projects that I've been in, there's always like the beginning hustle phase. I heard someone say once though that if you've been going for 3 months now and you're still hustling, it means you're not building structure. Mm-hmm. So your thing might be off the ground, but you're definitely not in balance, When I think back, I don't think I would be where I am now if I was striving for 24/7 balance, yet at the same time, we were just talking about, how balance is what we're really striving for. So I think it has more to do with the phase that you're in. I do believe that you're rewarded at the beginning for, like, for example, when I first started working, right out of college, I made a contract with myself to be tired, and I would just go to sleep. I'd sleep from midnight to 5 a.m. I did that for a year or two, and I would go and I'd work on my own business from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., right? And then my job, and then in the evenings I'd work for my own self again from 10 p.m. to midnight. And so I was squeezing out 4 or 5 hours a day to my own stuff. It was a necessary thing for the phase that I was in. But I think if someone's going to sustain that, that's why I burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more to do with the phase.
But then even that is it's just the container, because you can have a hustle year and then have a rest year. So it's like...
Oh, that makes sense.
There's the balance part. The reason why I ask is because that was a very common question when we asked people, what should we talk about on our podcast? Yeah. And they were like, talk about the balance between work, relationship, business, kids, personal life.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
How do you balance it all?
You just do.
Yeah, and it's funny because I have a few people's voices in my head who are like, there's no such thing as balance. But I look at them and I'm like, you have an addiction to chaos. Like you literally are the most chaotic person I can think of. And so I don't know. I think advice source matters. And look at the fruit, of those people.
Don't take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with.
Yeah. I just don't know any project I've ever been involved in. And maybe it's my own crap. Maybe I really just haven't figured it out. But every project I've ever been involved in that has ever taken off, there's always the compression period at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But I've gotten better at shortening the compression period, both in terms of how long it is, but then getting stuff off my shoulders so that you're building a real system in your life and not being the system.
I think you and I have been good too in our projects because we both have businesses. We have separate businesses. We also have this business together. And when we first started dating, I always looked for an example. I was like, I want to find a relationship role model or a relationship example of a couple that they run separate businesses. And a lot of our friends, people we know, are people that run businesses together or that one runs a business and the other doesn't. And so I haven't actually found an example other than Sarah Blakely and Jesse Itzler. But anyway, with what we do, I think we just know of each other's seasons that we're in. And even if we're both in a hustle season, we just the mental awareness of that, we're just like, okay, we're in a hustle season, we make it work. Or if you're in a hustle season, I'm like, I'm going to rest and be with the kids, and vice versa. We've just had awareness to kind of just make it work.
Yeah. Because I think the pursuit of balance overall is absolutely something you should go for. I don't know. I look back and I'm like, I don't know if I would be where I am without a significant period of, honestly, a little bit of obsession at the beginning. And that's what it called for. And I don't think that was wrong. I think where it becomes wrong is when you could let go more. You could build things that replace you, but you continue to stay addicted to the chaos. I think that's, for me, what it's been.
I think the greatest people of our time, the ones that are remembered, are obsessed, and I think that is a good thing. Like, you look at Elon Musk, he is obsessed with getting to Mars. And if he wasn't, I don't think it would be possible. You look at Oprah, she is obsessed with the empire that she's built. But kind of like you said, at some point it's the system to replace you, or
maybe the whole goal then isn't, it's balanced obsession, you know, because I still want to be able to get up in the morning and be obsessed. I like being obsessed. That was one of the reasons why I know that I stopped kind of producing for a little while, is because I didn't know what I could go throw myself into. But it was throw myself into it with also the now there's just more balance. There is more balance. I can tell when it's just, all right, I've put in a solid amount of time today. I got to go do something else or I'm going to go nuts. Mm-hmm. You know, and just the self-awareness piece of it, where in the past, I think what would pop up would be like, oh man, I don't know if this is, I would just continue. And I think it's because I was avoiding what was in my life. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like someone was saying to us the other day, is like, am I enhancing my experience of my life, or am I avoiding something?
Right.
Because there's nothing wrong with hard, continuous, sustained work, but what cost is really being paid besides that? Mm-hmm. It reminds me of, so I think you and I have both had to learn enjoying periods of rest. It's hard to get off the hustle train, you know? So there was, remember there was a guy that we had, I'd never done like a reading or anything like that in my life. There's a guy as a shaman who did a reading. It was
a human design reading.
It was a human design reading, yeah. And he starts looking at a human design. And I remember at the time, just my soul was just so exhausted. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just need alone time. I just need a rest. I just need alone time. I just need a rest. And that was true. But I remember he started looking through your reading, and he said, you are designed, you need I can't even say it. I'm not going to mimic it. But he's like, yeah, Stephen, you need alone time. But if Marley doesn't get it, it cripples her. Remember that?
Yeah, and you were surprised by that because you're like, but I need alone time.
I thought I was the one that needed more alone time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we just fostered that in each other.
Yeah. And we have like code words for it too. And also you used to say isolate, and then you realized that like the connotation of isolate, was it different? Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. It was after doing my most recent big event here, and I had one of the coaches here with us, and she said, what do you need? And I said, I think I just need to go isolate, and just recharge. And she was like, isolate is a defensive word. Mm. So let's actually pull that apart. And I remember she took me back right here on the stage, and we had the lights kind of low like this, and she kind of had me like lay down on the stage, and she started like trying to teach me how to uncouple from the energy of all the people in the room. And that's when she's like, you need to start using the word rest. Where what I learned from this was that my soul was afraid of being alone. And so isolate was a defense that I was throwing so that I wouldn't feel alone.
It was like, you chose it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to isolate instead of I'm now alone.
Instead of, I'm going to go rest.
Yeah.
Which is a totally different way. Like,
yeah.
I think it's funny that we're talking about balance, but it's hard not to talk about energy management when you talk about balance, because it's like the fuel of balance.
What would you tell someone that, because we do get this question of, what about when my spouse wants me to do these things, but they don't understand what I'm doing in the business? Or like, how do I get my spouse on board? You hear those kinds of things a lot.
Yeah. How did you handle it?
Well, my first marriage is over.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak to it either.
Yeah. And it's tough because like we have people that have asked questions of how do I get my spouse to, and you hear that quote of like, you're only as successful as your spouse allows you to be.
Garbage.
And I don't like that quote. I get what I think the intention of it is, of like your spouse that encourages you to go out there and do things, and like you do that for me, I do that for you. I can absolutely say, you know, there's things that I can do because of your support.
Yeah.
But like, you're not allowing me, giving me permission. If I'm not allowed to, I don't get to go after my dream. So like, and I think I might also be defensive of that because of what I came from in my first marriage that unfortunately did not work. And my ambition was such a trigger for why it all fell apart, that if I was with someone that sabotaged my success, my ambition, my dreams, that's not the life I want to live and not the potential I'm trying to go after. So it's hard for me to answer that question when someone's like, what do I say if my spouse doesn't support me in this? I'm like,
That's tough.
That's tough, and the game is won in the draft.
I mean, what do you want? Yeah, it's like, it's tough. I can already feel the comments right now.
Yeah.
Like, coming from you, sure, gonna say on this, because it's like, what do you want is really what it comes down to. Like, and I was asked by a coach once. I know we bring up coaching a lot, but I think it's important for everyone to know, like
we have lots of them.
you should have coaches around you that are pointing
in different aspects.
Yeah, point out your blind spots. My gosh, because you are blind. You know, perspective is like the most amazing gift ever. So she was basically saying though, like, she said to me once, she goes, "Why do I still get the feeling that you're trying to outsource your vision? You're not holding and controlling your own vision."
Was it a mistrust?
It was that I, at that point, was not clear on what I wanted, and I kept looking to other people to try to help me know what I want, which is obviously impossible.
I mean, you're getting inspiration from other areas
sure.
too. Yeah.
But like, even when I would have the vision, it's like I was basically asking for permission to play, and or
Good
permission to run what I wanted. But yeah, I don't know how to answer that one, because I mean, truthfully, I built the majority of my business, the original business, like kind of in secret, because I knew that I was not willing to give it up. And it wasn't a choice between it's going to be the thing that I build or this relationship. I just had maybe it was a delirious belief that it could be both and it was for a long time. So I don't know. That's a hard one to answer. I've had a lot of people try to ask that on calls too. They'd be like, what do I do to get my spouse on board? Well, you need to get into sales because you got to sell your vision, it sounds like. Yeah.
And it's just a lead by example thing. I mean, even with like, I go to bed early and I would love for you to go to bed early with me, but also it doesn't change our relationship. But sometimes you do, and it's great. But they're in like business and livelihood and who's providing for the family. Like it's such a different conversation. And yeah, there's like someone in mind that I can think of that it's been like a recurring thing of fight with the spouse and how do I, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you've had 34 fails in business, and you've heard the questions from well-meaning people of like, when is it going to be? Is it going to be this time? And it's the failure is a prerequisite. Hold on. I don't have a good answer for this.
One of the ways that I did handle it, though, consciously, so that it wasn't a riff, was I started taking on extra side work to make extra side money that was not necessarily like the main family income. And then when there was a book that I wanted to go buy, or a course I wanted to get, or something that I knew I needed to attend for my own growth, because, you know, truthfully, I wasn't providing with that thing yet. Like they were totally in the right to say, like, this isn't working yet. Why should you use the family's money on that thing? Like that makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
It's very fair for someone to say that for an entrepreneur or a business person that's not making it yet. So I would just take on and make extra money on the side so that I would have some small amount of funds for those things. Or I got really, really crafty and I just was like, you know what? I'm going to go, I don't have the money for that software, but I'm going to find somebody who wishes that software was in their business. And now I'm just going to offer to them, go get me an account and I'll build it in your business.
Right.
And that's how I just bootstrap like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's ways around it, but it's going to be per situation, per case by case basis. You know, the balance piece is like it's such an individual thing. It's like really hard to know. Only you really know if you've been living in balance or not.
Talking about energy management, what are some of the ways that we have businesses, multiple businesses separately and together. We have 3 beautiful girls under the age of 10. Obviously, a lot of things to juggle. And when people ask, what are the ways that you balance your energy? Some of the things that come to mind that I usually go to in answering is like, I love biohacking.
Yeah.
And since cancer and healing that, which I'm sure will be a whole other episode sometime.
Sure.
We have like a library of biohacking tools.
So many.
Which we love, and we'll put on our website if you go to therarethings.com if you want to check any of those out. Yeah. I'm sure we'll do a whole episode on that too.
Sure, yeah.
But like, what are some of the other frameworks or things that we do for energy management? One that's coming to mind is pumpkin.
Pumpkin. Where did that come from? What's the back? We should tell the backstory. What's the backstory to this?
So, do you want to first say what pumpkin means?
Yeah. So basically, here's the scenario: is that like, as soon as I think I literally just need less sleep. I think men do stereotypically.
Maybe
just a little.
And
less.
Also maybe depending on the season, the cycle.
The season and the cycle for sure. There's definitely seasons where I definitely sleep a lot, but there's definitely times where, you're like, hey, I'm ready to go to bed, and I'm like, I can't quiet my head down yet. There's no way I can go to bed. And so we'll keep talking, and I don't know why I like to tuck you. I like to tuck you in.
That's cute.
So I tuck you into bed, and then I'll just keep talking to you. And I keep talking and talking and talking. And what about this? And sometimes it turns into a bit of a brainstorm session. It's so fun. And then the ideas are flying back and forth. But I don't remember when it first started. I think it was when we moved into our newer house. There was like this moment where I just started seeing in your eyes. I was like, I better shut up. She's got to go to sleep. This isn't good, and I would be fine. Be like, I got to go to bed. I got to go to sleep. So we just came up with the phrase.
Well, I wanted a code word to say instead of being like, I'm done talking, get out. Because sometimes I want to hear everything. Of course, that's your brain dumping at the end of the day or telling me if we didn't have time earlier. But like when I'm going to bed and I'm exhausted and then and I'm in bed, now you're telling me, I'm like, I want to hear it. But also I'm getting to that point where I'm cranky.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a code word that was like, I love you, but leave me alone right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the code word became pumpkin. And I got this from some relationship coach that it actually originated from her strategy that you say pumpkin hours as the time after this time is when the carriage turns into a pumpkin and no one can go for a ride. Yeah. It's actually related to a more of an intimacy thing.
Sure.
But for us, we use it as like, all right, pumpkin. And then I love that you just say no more.
Yeah.
Or we've even been out. Like we were at a friend's house once and I was like, babe, I'm turning into a pumpkin. And I felt so loved. Like you got up so fast. You're like, we gotta go.
So you guys, I turned into a football linebacker. Like, get out of the way.
I felt so protected in that moment, and how perfect that we have the language to be able to say, I'm really tired, and I probably have, like, my fuse is getting shorter now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love that though, because
there's safety in it.
It's protection in each other's energy.
Yeah.
Not that either of us is solely responsible for it, but because we also foster each other's recharge. Mm-hmm. And I think that's unique.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we first started talking about just being together, that one of the foundations of the home was that the house needed to be a place of recharge, not another place to defend ourselves and our dreams in. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so if the house is not a place for us to you and I are out there putting our armor on sometimes, fighting battles, trying to get our visions out into the world. If we have to also go back to the house at the end of the day, keep our armor on and keep defending. No, please, I have this vision. I need to go. Like, we have to defend the vision. Like, oh my gosh, that's so intense. And you and I both know what that's like.
And I want to be at home, and I want to be feminine at home.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, in business, understandably, as a woman, sometimes I got to have the blinders on and be in kind of a masculine drive energy. But at home, I don't want to be. And so it's cool that we've kind of figured out a good flow, some different frameworks or code words for that, or even just sometimes just asking, like, what do you need?
Yeah. What do you need?
What do you need?
What do you need? I love when you ask me that. What do you need? I'm like, alone time. It's been 8 hours of phone calls. I'm exhausted. The other thing I really like also, though, I love the pumpkin thing. And I like how much we really honor that in each other. But the other thing I really like is, I think one of the questions when people ask, like, how do you guys balance it all? I think sometimes what they're actually asking is, like, what's your routines and your structure like?
Everyone wants to know the routines.
To know that stuff.
And wants to know my skincare routine. No one asks my skincare routine. I always blab when those influencer videos are like that.
My skincare routine. No, but
no one's asking.
Everyone wants to know my hair keeping.
Your hair. My hair keeping. So I knew you were going to go there.
So it seems like people want to know structure. They want to know routine. And I laugh at that question because I am not great at structure. You know, I kind of, as far as like morning routine, evening routine, I'm still not.
I wake up at 5 a.m. and then I run full sprint while staring directly at the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I think though is really cool that we've gotten into is this understanding that our energy is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's room for seasons in life where, I mean, I'll get up crazy early for a while, sometimes on a purpose, but I still will get up for a long time.
Yeah, you were just in that season.
I just was in that season, you know, but in the season I'm in right now, I'm sleeping way more, you know, and it's cyclical. Like it's like there's multiple structures. There's the structure that we have for when there's the event structure, which we both know that's like, and it's like
event structure, you usually don't even sleep at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually get a hotel for just in our own city, which is silly. But so what I got to do to protect my energy?
Yes, it's a protect your energy and also the convenience of walking across the street instead of driving 25 minutes. So it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah. But also it's energy management and protection.
Yeah.
I'm in the creative producing zone. You kind of do the same, you know, you have the same kind of thing. And we have these like, and so maybe that's like better for people to hear that there's not like this, I live and die by this structure and schedule every day. And maybe we should be more like that. But what works for us is having like, hey, I'm going into event mode, or hey, I'm going into, you know, massive project mode. Mm-hmm. And that's where the balance comes in, because there's like a big output zone and then there's like a big recharge zone. Mm-hmm. And they're totally different lifestyles.
Yeah. We've got our family whiteboard calendar of family stuff, trips, kids' school things. Then we also have like our business whiteboard calendar of when you have an event, when I'm out of town, when I'm speaking somewhere, where you're speaking somewhere. And then we have Friday date nights.
Yeah.
You know what else has been like so, I think, life-changing for me, and I like shout this from the rooftops to any woman I can, and men, because any man that has a woman in their life should also, I think, be aware of this, is the Infradian rhythm, the Infradian cycle, the Infradian rhythm.
I was hoping we were going to talk about this.
Yeah, this could be a whole podcast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So when I was going through cancer, and so mine was cervical, I got off of birth control. I was on birth control for 16 years. And what shocked me was just how much my body had to find a new normal by not being on artificial hormones. And what really happens, and I'm like, I will try to not get too loud from the soapbox, but when women are on artificial hormones, birth control, it shuts off the communication between the brain and the ovaries, and their menstrual cycle is like a fifth vital sign. And it's actually really amazing to be able to understand and be able to know in your body what's going on. And when you're on birth control, you don't actually have a real menstrual cycle. It's just called a withdraw. And for anyone listening that's like, oh, this is weird that we're talking about this, like, it's
Stick
human.
with us.
It is human.
Yeah. Don't make it weird. Stick with us is a huge point.
So people have heard of the circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is that there are 24 hours in a day. We all understand this. But the world mostly operates off of the circadian rhythm because it is mostly run by men. The infradian rhythm is a woman's 28-day cycle. And the 28-day cycle is the cycles of the hormones going on in a woman's body. So there's like the follicular, ovulation, luteal, and menstrual, which is when the woman has her period. Those 4 phases of the cycle are very equivalent to the 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. And when I was learning my body again after getting off of 16 years of birth control, which is infuriating, and I will get down from the soapbox.
No, it was tough to watch you.
Oh gosh.
The transition off of the birth control just to like being a natural cycle, infradian cycle, it was intense to watch. Your body was like relearning how to talk to itself.
Mm-hmm. And it was like this silent torture hurricane of emotions going on in my body. Like I felt like there was always something wrong. And at the same time, I was also dealing with the trauma of getting a cancer diagnosis. And we also just started a brand new business at the time that was very heavy and moved into a new house.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it was a lot. As I started to regulate my hormones though, there was this one time a month that I hadn't tracked yet that it was at this specific time every month. There was this one time every month where I was like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm cranky for no reason. What's going on? And it wasn't during my period, which I think most people would blame, like, oh, you're on your period, whatever.
Right.
It's the luteal phase that's like right before menstrual. So it's, if you think of follicular, ovulation, luteal, menstrual, it's spring, summer, fall, winter.
Fall. Luteal, right?
Fall is like when you start to go prepare for hibernation. Because of winter, you're hibernating in winter. So we came up with this phrase, luteal is brutal.
Luteal.
Luteal is brutal.
It's cool because as soon as, like, we have language for that now, though.
Yeah.
And we know, like, that cycle, like, that's something that's very pumpkin season.
That's pumpkins. Yes, it really is in fall.
That's harvesting pumpkins.
But it doesn't mean that I'm a psycho bitch every luteal. Now it means I know when it's coming. And those are that few day window when it's like my progesterone and my estrogen is at its like highest and lowest, whatever. That's my introspective days.
Yeah. It's
like the equivalent of not trying to run a marathon at 11 o'clock at night when you should be sleeping. It's not that, oh, for these days every month, she's going to be a terror to be around. It's, I now understand my energy cycle. My follicular and my ovulation, I'm like ready to party. I'm so social.
Yeah.
I'm crazy productive. I get so much stuff done.
You're a creative powerhouse.
Oh, it's a superpower when people understand it.
Yeah. I love that you taught this to our girls.
I tell this to everyone who will listen.
Hey, look, luteal cycle and understanding the infradian, that it is a superpower. It's this massive superpower. So it's fun to watch and foster that and know, like, here it comes. And then besides that, then a lot of pumpkins, you know?
Yeah. And it's so cute that for the kids, we've explained to them, because we got 3 girls. They're all going to get to that age soon where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they were anticipating that, oh my God, it's going to be the worst thing in the world.
It's going to be terrible.
It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. And I was like, actually, here's another perspective. It's actually like a superpower when you know it. And when I'm in my luteal, it's actually my introspective days. That's when I write. That's when I do yoga. That's when I read. And I'm like, it's like my learning and just introspective. It's not that I have to avoid everyone so that my wrath doesn't come out. I turn into a dragon.
No.
Now I just understand it. And now knowing that, you haven't even, like, there's been times where before I had the language for it, I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then you were like, do you think you're just wintering? Oh, is that what's happening?
It's just the winter.
But now I don't think you notice.
Barely. But we also have the language.
I also tell you now.
Yeah. We know it's coming up and we prepare for it. We don't make it weird.
Yeah.
And we tell the girls it's a superpower.
You joke about, like, knowing when we're all on the cycle and like coming in with.
I'm gonna run in with the fertilizer and just dump M&Ms in and what do you guys need? Super dad just running in with chocolate syrup and kisses.
Such a good dad.
I still want to make it weird. It's not weird.
Well, and I love that. I love that it's not weird with you because it's so normal, and we have 3 girls and they're so powerful and
They're teaching to shame their bodies. That's dumb.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's cool that we love personality assessments and things. So like we know our Enneagrams, our human designs, we know all the girls' human designs. Oh my gosh. Like
Right.
if I would have grown up knowing my human design, first of all, for anyone that knows human design, there's these different kind of design types that kind of speak to the way that your energy is, how you operate, your strengths, your weaknesses, your strategies for success. I am a projector. My parents and my brother were manifesting generators, which is polar opposite. So I grew up in a world of manifesting generators, which is very like go, 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 work, work, work.
Which is what I am.
Which is what Steven is.
Yeah.
And you now live in a home of projectors. Me and the 3 girls, we are all projectors.
We're all projectors.
Which could you imagine if I grew up raised as a projector instead of feeling like I was broken and like I actually don't want to, it's not that I don't want to work hard because like I do, but it's working hard in different ways, different strategies, different superpowers and like different strategies for leadership and creation instead of being a machine.
I mean, you want to learn about energy management, like how you operate. I mean, human design is like a roadmap to understanding that stuff. And I think that's what's so cool about it is like the pursuit of balance really is understanding your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love this topic because it's like, all right, if there's infradian rhythms, there's circadian rhythms. I think one of the things that I laugh when people ask, oh, what's your balance? Like as if we're not also on the road, on the journey, trying to figure it out ourselves. So, I mean, it was like 2 months ago. Again, another coach was like, Steven, you actually, I have a healthy dose of feminine in me, which is why I'm super creative.
And you're very emotionally intelligent and aware. You can read people really well.
Well, and that's what she was saying. She's like, every time you go so she was like, okay, imagine Marley when she's going through and she's got, the infradian rhythm and she's like, did you know you actually also do that, but they're just called projects. And whenever there is, and that's why I think it's important sometimes, like, look, I'll stay in a hotel right next to our house is because I'm in the middle of my winter. I just gave birth, if you will, to a project. I put my soul into it. Like it's still, I think a lot of guys who go and create a lot, they feel broken because they don't have like I could set my watch to my dad's routine. It is amazing. But for people who are, I'm not saying my dad's insanely creative, but there's also a lot of creatives out there that don't recognize that it's actually a super similar cycle that we go through with any kind of project or project management. And when the project is over, where burnout just sits on the horizon is when you just go straight back into the next one, take no time for actual legitimate rest and recovery and recharge. And then then you wonder why you start hating your life, How come that project didn't go as well? How come you're tired? Get some rest, You might be in your own version of a cycle. And if you look at projects that way, management that way, it's like energy management and balance just laces straight in with that. I love that we have language for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like the personal energy management of what it means, to your cycle. Right. There's also, it's funny as it is, I'm about to say this, I have a cycle, and, which is true. It's just like, it's the production of a hardcore creative work.
The creative cycle, the recharge cycle. Because, I mean, I've worked with some incredible copywriters that they're like, I need to go into the woods, into a cabin in the woods, and I need to write, and then don't talk to me for a week.
Yeah.
And at first I'd be like, what do you mean? That's
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, but then they come out of
hibernation.
Hibernation, and they're like, here's my creation.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for that.
Yeah.
I wish that more people were selfish with their masterpieces and what they needed to create. I mean, look at people like Bill Gates, that he has Think Week.
Yeah.
Like he will go into some luxurious mansion in the woods and he's got his bag of books and he will go there just to think.
Yeah.
And whatever anyone thinks about him, he obviously is a bajillionaire. And if that's part of his routines that he needs, that's what he does.
Yeah. It's powerful. I think there's a lot of accidental bleeding crossover for someone who might be like starting something rare in their life, some rare pursuit, to take the lifestyle and behavioral habits of like the Industrial Revolution. I mean, the whole reason that we have bells in school is to train us so that we can act like better factory workers.
Yes.
Well, if you pursue something that is rare, like you're going to be wearing a lot of different hats, and there's going to be a lot of different creative periods. There's going to be some hustle phases. There's going to be some like you can't map like that. That's why I laugh every time. What's your guys' work routine? I was like, well, it kind of depends what's going on. We're changing it based on what's going on, not saying, and I know there's people listening or watching to this who would be like, that sounds like you're not being disciplined. But in fact, I'm working with my energy. And because of that, my longevity has increased.
Well, you mentioned the industrial age. The industrial age created this productivity-based self-worth because back then you were literally more worthy the more that you worked because you were getting paid by the hour, and how much can you shovel and brick and whatever that they were creating back then. But we don't live in that time anymore. But we still, I don't think that our physiology has evolved from this productivity-based self-worth that we feel like I am more worthy the more that I work, and I have to keep climbing up this mountain because that's where my self-worth is, at the top. But it's just this perpetual will never be at the top if you don't learn how to work with the energy.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you got to work with it. And each person is different. I think that's like, there's a lot of comparison traps to doing rare things, you know, where you're like, well, I'm not as far as them, or I'm not as big as, or whatever. And I think that's one of them, is you start comparing work habits and lifestyle. And only individually do we know if we're actually putting in our full effort. But that doesn't mean exhaustion, and that doesn't mean blowing out the tanks, you know, full adrenaline just out the gate that's not a long-term play, you know. We
also live in a time where, speaking of catching up with our physiology, like if you think of caveman days, like they had to be constantly on the hunt for food, because once you finish your food and then you might be full for a little while, then you need to keep looking, like hunting, gathering for the next meal. But we now live at a time where like our next meal is in the fridge, that we don't have to be constantly on the hunt. But we have that. We have the industrial age that we still need to recognize that we're not constantly hunting or trying to find our worthiness outside.
Worthiness outside. Yeah, that makes total sense. There's a book that one of my design classes in college we had to read. It was called This Whole New Mind. And this guy's entire argument was that he said in the near future, he said the future belongs to the right brain thinkers. And it's because...
And right is creative.
And right
left
is creative.
Logic.
Yeah, so he said the reason is because the left brain, almost all the left brain activities are going to be the things that are automated. And it kind of, or at least wildly manufacturable, because you can turn it into an assembly line, you know, even coding, you know, now there's no code things. Now there's all like tons of these left brain things that we all have now are either automatable or wildly cutted and systemized and processed out. And so it's actually the right brain thinker that owns the future. And I think that's I've never forgotten that. But because of that, like left brain thinking, assembly line, manufacturing line style, industrial age kind of thing, like that's where like the time for hours, it's really interesting you say that, because that's one energy management style, but it's a totally different energy management style when your day is dependent on hardcore right creative thinking. You got to like learn your ebbs and flows. You know, I was a short road to burnout. And I don't think that I've nailed the balance thing. And I don't think I've nailed the energy management thing. I think it's like an onion. I'm just peeling back the next layer. I'm like, oh, you know, that's the next thing.
What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
I thought I was going to be a coder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because that's what your dad does?
Yeah.
Cool.
coder. Well, for a while I was coder. Before that, I thought I was going to be a high school history teacher.
I see you being good at that too.
Yeah. That's why I just love all the stories of rich dad marketers.
Yeah.
I like history.
And you're so good with kids.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a history teacher.
I learned so much from you about parenting and kids and just how you communicate with them, how you make it so safe to play and learn through playing, and discipline also through playing. Like, obviously there's moments for discipline where we got to be serious, but you have taught me so much to raise the kids so differently than I was raised, which I love.
I just don't want the home to feel like a business.
Yeah.
It was weird. I remember this was before you and I were together. I was not good at that. And it's like working from home, I had to change from work hat to dad hat and 2 inches of drywall, you know? And you still work from home for the most part. But where I started realizing that I had a fallacy in my thoughts was that I was putting on warrior armor in work. And it's very challenging energy. I mean, even when I was in the Army, like military guys, if they work on a base, a lot of times they'll make them drive around for an hour before they're allowed to go home. And it's because they can't walk into their houses running the family dynamic. Like it's
like a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Transition time.
Very big thing. They need the transition time. I like that you and I also have language for that as well.
Yeah.
I need some transition time.
Yeah.
Or that was such an intense day. I'm having a hard time I'll say that to you. I'm having a hard time putting that day down. I don't like who I'm showing up as right now. I need some transition time.
And that is something that is very male from the relationship courses and things that I've taken, that like males need transition time. Men are very just kind of like singular focused, and women have more of a diffuse awareness. So that's why I can be trying to make dinner, but then on the way finish picking up a puzzle, and then also remember that there was some laundry, and then someone came to the door, and then like do all these other things. But meanwhile, I'm still thinking about dinner, like,
and doing a work call,
right,
or something.
Yeah, like it's just that.
I can't do
it's
that.
Just a female multitasking, diffuse awareness kind of thing. And so, yeah, I can come home and like switch into things, but I just know that about you, and it's a respect thing of that's just what you need, and it's not a you're broken because why do you need time to transition? It's
you don't want to be with us.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. But I think that if there isn't that awareness, of course someone would take that personally.
Yeah.
You were away all day and now you want to go be alone, but
still need to be away.
Don't you miss us? And then we as a family and the kids would appreciate it more, because then when you are home, you are present instead of trying to get present, but I still have to put this down. And
that happened
you'll come back.
Last weekend, I was like, gosh, I wish I could be home right now. I'm exhausted. I want to. And then you said to me, the girls need you, ... rested.
Yeah, because you said, I can sense that the girls need me. So my response was, yes, the girls need you. Rested. I was like, we're fine. We're great. Yeah. We're at Target.
Yeah.
We're at Target.
Yeah.
Oh, we had so much fun at Target.
I think one of the funnest parts about the pursuit of balance, is that is the ability to explore.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about the pursuit of balance from like I'm always going to do it this way and it's always going to be this way, and it's like that, it gets so locked down that I feel like I can't be curious, But if it's the pursuit of balance from this lens of exploration, like I wonder if I could optimize over here, or I wonder if I could do this over here, or that's to me when it becomes a fun journey and not a. I think men kind of go through this a little bit. Like, I remember graduating from college, and then I kind of got a little depressed like 6 months after, when I just started working, because I was like, this is just like what it is. There's nothing else. This is the rest of my life. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be okay, work from a guy that not my thing, from 9 to 5 at a job I don't think I'm getting paid enough. Like, this is it. And every day starts to blend together a little bit. That's really freaky for a lot of.
There's no. What's that? Time horizons?
He has no time horizons. Yeah.
We should talk about time horizons.
Yeah.
Having variety in your life is what actually makes your life feel longer.
Yeah.
If it's repetitive all the time, oh, that week went by so fast. Well, it might, you can also say that when there was lots of stuff happening, but if the weeks and years blend in together, it might just be because you're doing the same thing, that there's no events for your brain to actually grab onto a new memory.
I heard someone teach, so I don't know where this stat comes from, but it sounds good and at least illustrates the point. He said that there's like 4 billion bits of information coming into your head each day between the sound of the vents and the lights. And like there's so much coming in. What your brain's actually doing is deleting and noticing. And that's what the point of the RAS receptors is. You're tuning into what you want to not delete because the things are already all around you.
Yeah.
And so if every day is weaving together, literally your brain just goes, well, that was the same today as it was yesterday. And so it deletes it. And the day deletes. It's just gone.
Yeah.
And every single day that looks exactly the same, it literally just starts to delete it. And that's when you can look backwards after over a month and be like, what did I do this? The month's already over? That scares the crap out of me. And I think that's why it's been hard for me to do the balance game a little bit, because I had a misunderstanding of what it meant, where I was like, everything should be different all the time, all at once. Otherwise.
And balance meant repetition?
I did. I thought balance meant repetition. Too much structure meant that you're never going to.
I mean, you can define balance differently of like,
right.
This is how much sleep I get. But, and there's checklists of things that I still do, that I move my body, I eat a good meal, I sleep this much, but the workouts change, or when I sleep changes, or whatever. You are very variety driven.
Very.
Yeah.
Well, the negative though of that has been, literally it's a human need to have variety, but it's also a human need to have structure and certainty.
Yeah.
And so what has helped me gain more structure in my life is the realization that if I'm going to be variety focused in my business and explore things, it needs to be counterbalanced by certainty. Mm-hmm. And so certainty in my personal life actually allows me to be more creative in my business. Mm-hmm. Really interesting when I gain that insight. Where the danger comes is when it's the exact opposite, where if I'm too locked in my business and the role that I'm doing just isn't feeding my soul anymore, it will very naturally destroy and wreck my day-to-day structure. My morning routine goes to crap. My evening routine doesn't look, because there isn't one. My soul is seeking variety somewhere. And so I'll just like nuke my personal structure because there's not enough variety for me happening. I've had to change my whole business model because of this. And it's not a bad thing, but I had to change my business model so that there was at least what I would put out. I only have 3 products, but under the umbrella of those, there's a lot of latitude for me just to feed my soul. Because otherwise it was making it so that, it's hard to create dependability. It's hard to create family plans. It's hard to go do a vacation. It's hard to do anything if there's so much structure in my business that in my personal life is where I get variety. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like that was a huge epiphany that came not long ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I flipped it? And I'm going to bookend it where the morning has a lot of consistency. The evening has a lot of consistency. And because that part of my human actual need is being met, now I can actually go meet the human need in my business for some variety piece, but still within a structural context.
So then what are the non-negotiables in personal and business for structure that you want or need?
Yeah, so for the personal stuff, the rest of the human needs, I think about Coach you and I used to work together a lot with, we wake up, there's an actual need for obviously moving your body, for eating well, for sleep, but also feeding your brain. There's got to be the intellectual stimulation somewhere. It's so funny. I used to think that the need to be social was not a need,
Broke that one.
Broke that one so hard. Who was that? That coach was like, this was like 2 years ago. He's like, you keep trying to optimize everything in your life, Steve. That's not your problem. Your problem is you got a needs issue. And I was like, what? Just totally pulled the rug out from me when he said it. He's like, yeah, you keep thinking that social interaction is not a need.
You were very much avoiding it.
I avoided every kind of interaction.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you let me in.
It's kind of interesting that you got it.
Well,
And you
yeah,
like pull my teeth.
It surprised me though that I'm like, how are you want to be a hermit, but you still wanted me? Like, how did I slip through there?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, come on, we're going out.
It's so funny because I'll even text that coach still every once in a while, and he will not respond unless I give him an actual phone call and be like, there he is, getting his interaction in.
That's funny.
Yeah. But it's been interesting to prioritize the actual legitimate, like documented scientific human needs. Like that's when the business has actually become more fun and more creative. And I actually thought it was a false belief I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a huge false belief I had.
When you were worried about, correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but like you have a lot of people that want to learn from you, pick your brain, ask you questions, and you also had this big trigger of feeling trapped.
Yeah. And
before doing a lot of therapy and healing and personal development stuff that we've done, I think you felt like, oh no, they want to take from me, instead of I have an opportunity to connect with people. And it's been so cool that at events, whether it's your events or you're speaking somewhere else or we're masterminding somewhere else, people have noticed about you that you're different, you're calmer, you're like, you talk to us, you're more social, and you're very genuinely connecting with people now.
Yeah. I'm trying to learn how to prioritize needs. I'm so done with the industry standard of hustle your face off, and the glorification of imbalance is just so dumb. And it's just because I think it almost kind of like took me out.
Yeah.
And
yeah, how can you connect with someone if you are living in chaos?
And it's almost like what I've noticed is a lot of people that will stay in chaos so they don't have to learn to connect with someone because it's a skill set.
Stay in chaos because I also think that there's an addiction that makes them feel worthy. Like if I have lots to do, and then there's new accomplishments, and then I'm needed here, new accomplishments and needed here, and then it's this cycle, productivity-based self-worth. It's easy to get addicted to that chaos, and the opposite of addiction is connection.
It's been fun to watch you. You've really let out in our relationship with that. I remember it was shortly after you moved in. I can't remember what happened, but something, this was 4 years ago, there was something was going on in somebody's life, and you immediately like threw down whatever was going on in it for your day, and you're like, we're going to go help that person. And I was like, good for you. I was like, awesome. Happy to be connected to you. I'm staying home. But then you just continue to do that. I was like, that's so cool. And you're so connected with people. And I don't know why. It's just, I didn't have that skill set. I just didn't have that. I didn't have that modeled.
Yeah.
That's
sweet.
That same coach was like, who could you call at like 2 a.m.? And I was like, oh, I have no idea. I have no idea I could call 2 a.m. Now that's not true.
Yeah.
But then it totally was. It's very lonely.
Yeah. Well, and it's been cool of you to say to guy friends like, hey, I need you to need me. I need you to need something really inconvenient and call on me.
Yeah, that's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah, but like unrecognizable from who you were 3-4 years ago.
I remember like going to massive events with you like 4 years ago. I mean, that's when I was still getting a bodyguard. I couldn't even connect with people so much, and that's when that coach was like, hey, you missed the whole point. You're not hitting the next level because you don't know how to connect. It has nothing to do with what you do or how you do it. I was like, that's not true. You just got to make a better offer. Garbage. I think our industry and as a whole is lonely.
Well, and that never made sense to me when people be like, it's lonely at the top. I'm like, go outside.
Yeah.
Stop counting your shekels from the tower.
Yeah. Did you ever stop to think that you're choosing loneliness?
Yeah.
Does it have to be that way? In fact, that's what's keeping most
There's
people back.
There's a ton of entrepreneurs that are saying it's so lonely being an entrepreneur. Why don't you go talk to the other entrepreneurs that are saying that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's not cool. It's not something to glorify.
No.
No.
I think it's more of a needs issue, recognizing that you have a need, but you can't read the label from the inside. So it's funny when, these people are like, I help people overcome their limiting beliefs, but they don't know what they are. So you can't say, I help people stop self-sabotaging. They don't know they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know I was doing it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a hermit. And then you're like, oh, that's cute.
It's cute.
That's
all right.
no.
Take me to Olive Garden.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's what's so interesting about it. So I love it when someone asks, how do you balance it all? I have no, like, I don't know. I'm still on that. Yeah, I feel like you're so much closer on the balance thing than I am. I'm getting way better though.
Well, I just think balance will happen regardless. It's just the container that you are in. Because if you have 10 years of hustling your face off, you might have 10 years of being in a hospital. I don't know. Or if you hustle till you die, well, then you'll rest when you're dead. Like, I think that balance has to happen. Yeah, early. I think that it's just the container. And if you're exhausted, you'll have to figure out how to sleep later. If you spend your time hustling, you will at some point have to spend your time dealing with the consequences of that hustle, whether you decide intentionally to rest or you are forced to.
That's a good soundbite right there. It's interesting that the topic of balance, because I think most people ask of like, how did you do balance? But it's multifaceted. You know, balance is like, okay, yeah, we could talk about day structure for sure. We just talked about energy management, connecting with people, you know, and relationships as well. I also think though that with balance, like that's health is part of it. You know, that's when we started doing a lot more like water fasts, and there's a lot of reasons we did that. But I also felt, now that you say like balance will happen, that's very wise, because I can see where it's like, if we didn't do that kind of stuff, like water fasts, and I had to carnivore for 100 days, like it's like
you lost 30 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like it's cool because I do feel like it was a voluntary move that I made to tilt the scale back, because I think I was definitely living in imbalance for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like balance in different aspects, because there's going to be balance in our relationship of masculine and feminine, and balance of who's working here and who's working here, and who's with the kids, who's, you know, like there's so many different areas of balance. And if I had to score us, I think we're doing like pretty good.
Yeah.
Is there room to improve?
Never.
Not at all. How dare you even suggest it?
Just learning and growing, you know? It's like, I think that's what's so fun. I think it's what's fun about our mentality as a couple as well, that there's room for that.
Oh, you used to say that a lot at the beginning of our relationship.
Where did that?
Well, it was because I was stuck in my ways. You were pursuing me, and I was like, you're not my type. My type is narcissist, manipulator, cheater, abuser. And I just need to, like, I need some time. I need some space. I don't know. And then you were just like, there's room for that. Because you're so good to me. You were pursuing me. And even though I was like, I don't know, you didn't like pressure me at all. You just gave me space to figure it out. But you also you didn't let me friend zone you, which I respected so much, and also made you very attractive to me.
But it also wasn't like a friend zoning, like, because that could definitely come off like a forcing.
It wasn't a friend zone. It wasn't an ultimatum.
No.
It was a...
Ultimatum, that's the word.
Yeah. No, you were very aware and gentle with my needs, because I had just gone through my divorce. I was heartbroken about that guy from Omaha that I dated before you. That was my trigger to go to therapy, to realize my pattern of being attracted to emotionally unavailable people. And you were just like such a good friend to me through that before we fell in love, which I've never fallen in love before you. I only crashed into it. But yeah, you would just be like, there's room for that. It made me feel so safe and loved.
That's true. I didn't think about balance in terms of that regard as well, like the masculine and feminine.
Oh,
because go ahead.
Speak about that, about the masculine and feminine, because when you were, I want this to be a whole episode. When you were pursuing me, and I was like, I don't know, you're not my type, I don't really know. You were reading an incredible book. I really want this to be its own episode.
We can make it its own. We'll do a little teaser right here.
Okay, a little teaser. This is the next episode.
It really does fit with the topic of balance now that I'm thinking about it.
And masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
But you were reading a book, which we will not reveal yet. You'll have to come back to the next episode. Subscribe on all platforms. Leave a review. Follow us on Instagram.
Rate and subscribe.
That you were very aware of being engaged enough with me that I knew that you were there, but wouldn't let me friend zone you. And, but also allowing me to stay in my feminine that you pursued without it turning into like a cat and mouse that then would put me into a masculine.
Like a chase.
A chase.
Yeah.
Which was like, I don't know how you orchestrated it, but like, I just think it was the most magical time. And as soon as I went through that healing, I just turned around and was like, I am in love with you.
Done. Tired of acting like I'm not also.
Oh, that was sweet.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that was great.
You said that. There was a night where you said, I love you and I'm tired of pretending I don't anymore.
We were watching TV together, something other. Did I just turn and randomly say it?
Yeah, you did. No.
I love you.
This is so entrepreneurial. We were playing a personal development game.
We were playing
It was a game with these cards that you had to sort what your real values were, and then you like eliminate them to see what your real values were.
Forgot about that.
And, we had these cards all out, and you're like helping me figure out what my values were. We're so entrepreneurs. And you're like, I love you, and I'm tired of pretending I don't anymore. And I was like,
oh, and then I said, and I don't say anything back. I'm not putting any pressure on you. I just need you to know. We just went back to the game.
I'm like, okay.
I forgot about that.
Don't just say that. So sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happened after that?
I think it was that night I also kissed you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was good.
I think it was.
We're going to censor here.
What?
Just kidding.
Censor. That's all that happened.
Yeah, it all. I'm just making anyone think something else. No, no, it was from that book though, and I won't, I do think we should do an entire episode just on
open loop for the next episode.
Just an open loop for that one. But the whole concept with the balance was cool because what I've learned from that book was that if the masculine is not strong enough in its own, this is who I am, that attracts the feminine, then it means that the masculine, which is very prone to hunting, right? A masculine is very much a hunter, just like caveman style, right? If the masculine goes and hunts, it actually puts the decision making on the feminine and flips the feminine into masculine. And it makes it so that now I am being the feminine and it makes you be masculine. And that's the way the relationship would start. It flip-flops the polarity of the relationship. And from the very beginning, the rest of the relationship, it would set a tone where you're the masculine and I'm the feminine. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But I also like
Swoon.
Yes,
Swoon.
I like though that it seems like there's multiple times where we've brought that back up, where we want to be our true natures.
Yeah.
And create an environment for that. And there's times where I can tell in terms of balance where you don't want to make any more decisions, and it's like, what are we doing for date night? And I'm like, oh crap, I know that I'm masculine means I should have, I've just been so in these other things, like, so anyway, I'm getting better at that too. But yeah, that's 100% part of balance. What an interesting discovery on balance this has been.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fun. So true answer, it is a very much a personal journey, and it's one of what I call the parallel journeys to being in your rare journey. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be going on this journey to doing rare things, that's great and all, but there's also going to be an internal one that you go through that is running in parallel, immediately coincides with it, and most people don't know they're going through it. And I think it's what makes the pursuit of the rare thing hard.
Mm.
It's, like, wasn't there one of the shamans, he said, life is not hard, it's challenging, know the difference.
Yeah.
I love that line. That always sticks in my head. Life is not hard, it's challenging, know the difference. And he like barked it at somebody. I was like, oh, it's a good point.
The struggle is not real.
The struggle is imagined, it's not real. But it's true, like the pursuit of the rare, it's not actually hard. We all typically know the next steps. What's hard is the underlying parallel journey of growth of what does balance look like for me and self-discovery things.
There's so many experiences I've had that I realized was an illusion. Do you ever see that video or that meme where the kid is in the water and he's like holding onto the rope and he's like, somebody save me. And so his mom comes and just like stands him up and he's like in a shallow area. He's like, oh, like that's a lot of what I feel like has happened for me personally, where I'm like, oh no, this is so hard and awful. And then someone's like, stand up, you're in the shallow end.
Stand, just down. Yeah. And I think that any kind of rare pursuit, you know, you're going to constantly feel that.
Yeah.
Just the self-awareness of it. I do think, though, that you can wildly improve your enjoyment and quality of life if you make these self-observations of where you're imbalanced in self-love, in self-judgment. At the moment it becomes a comparative statement, the moment it becomes comparing to anybody else, like you rob yourself of the opportunity of joy. You rob yourself of growth that's gentle. Growth does not have to be aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like watching the little babies grow. That wasn't aggressive. They made mistakes. They got back up and it was fine.
Yeah.
And that's how it can continue to be as an adult as well.
When they're walking, learning how to walk and they fall down.
What you floating doing? Are you kidding?
You'll never walk in this town.
Yeah. Crawl forever. And there's like this tendency for like ultimate perfection, as if that's the standard for success, and it's just not.
It's been interesting to like reparent myself through the girls and recognize the things that I believed for 33 years of my life.
Yeah.
And then to be like, if that belief has changed for me, what else do I have that I believed for my whole life that can also change?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even think like that, like what perspectives can change just because that's the only thing I've ever known.
No. Yeah.
Like for me, the big ones recently were conflict resolution.
Oh yeah.
Being afraid to, like say how I feel, because if I say how I feel, people will not love me. No, because I'm a competent adult. Or with the kids, I want them to go full force in on their dreams and do anything it takes, but also don't let anyone tell them what to do. But then also listen to me and what I tell you to do. Wait a minute. I had to recognize like where I was still opening my mouth and my mother came out, you know, in loving ways.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously I love my mom and there's room for that. There's personal responsibility we teach there. But I was like, that is also a little bit, there's some nuances here that I want to change the furniture in my mind around.
I like that imagery with it. It also reminds me that like with being a kid, like I feel like what I've been doing, I feel like sometimes these are like lessons from Steve and Marley's therapy sessions, but like honestly though, like that's been part.
That's how we became friends, is we read our therapy notes because we were both.
Oh, are you jacked up? Oh my gosh, me too.
What did Rick say to you?
Be careful, we were not trauma bonding. Like
we.
Another episode. We'll tell that in another episode. But yeah, no. But that's what's interesting as an adult now. I feel like what I've been able to go back and do is close the loop on things my child went through that was way out of balance, that my adult self has thought is what it means to live. Yeah. To go backwards and be like, hey, that wasn't actually in balance. That shouldn't have happened. This should be more like this, you know. Remember, working yourself to the bone with no rest is actually dumb, right? And like learning certain attributes around that as a child, like all the energy management, all the things we're talking about right now, like a lot of stuff, I just didn't learn that stuff as a kid. And so I kept thinking balance was a facade. I even taught that.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, I've heard you say it.
Balance is a facade. And it's like, maybe at the beginning of projects, but in short spurts that you intentionally close.
It's just the container you're in.
Yeah. And then actively flip the container.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on The Rare Things. For more, go to therarethings.com. Be sure to rate, subscribe, all those things. Let us know down below. If there's things you want us to talk about also, we actually look at comments. We were doing that right before the show, actually, on things you guys want us to be sharing with. Sometimes we just don't know would be a useful insight. So let us know down below. Go to therarethings.com also, and we have our email newsletter there, as well as some cool freebies, as well as things we use in our life that people just ask us about, rare little gadgets and stuff. So Thanks for listening.
Awesome. And speaking of balance, Stephen now needs to take me to Olive Garden for some unlimited breadsticks.
I accept.